Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video, I wanted to talk about something related to the side effects of vaccine, and this is this idea of myocarditis, which is sort of just an inflammation of the heart that is shown to occur after being vaccinated. So the thing is that there is no, I don't think, dispute in the scientific community of whether or not vaccines cause myocarditis. But the thing is, as individuals, when we're looking at risk, we look at absolute risk in terms of, yes, following vaccination, you have a higher chance of getting myocarditis, especially if I believe you're someone under the age of 30, and it's more likely if you're male, so it tends to affect younger people more likely. But we actually are not very good at considering relative risk, because that relative risk means we have a baseline to look at, and people don't know about the baseline rates of myocarditis, for example. So in this table, what I have is in sort of this first column, I sort of have the age ranges for all sexes, base rates for myocarditis per 100,000. So this just goes to show that as a base rate in the general population on a non-COVID year, non-vaccination year, there's these base rates of myocarditis. That's just natural. It can come environmentally, it can come through other sources, but it's a baseline where we're just normally as a society well accustomed to. This just goes to show that following excess cases of SARS-CoV-2 in this third column, following contracting SARS-CoV-2, what you have is you have this increase of baseline rate of plus 11.54, again, per 100,000. Now, the thing is, excess cases of mRNA vaccination, this just goes to show that vaccination does cause myocarditis in an excess of 8.62. So for example, in the age range of 12 to 19 with a base rate of 16, this pretty much just increases your chance of myocarditis by 50%. 8 over 16 is 50%, so by 50%. So this was produced by a report by Public Health Ontario, but these numbers actually come from the Israel study that sort of had these side by side. So again, when we talk about relative risk, if you had to choose the vaccine over contracting COVID, in terms of myocarditis, then it would be a smart decision to get vaccinated. Yes, you increase that risk, but the opportunity cost of SARS-CoV-2 is much higher, so it seems like a no-brainer. And just secondly, again, because we're talking about relative to a baseline and this background rate of myocarditis, what I wanted to show was just if you look at these three sort of bar charts, what I wanted to point out is that after just having your third dose, so this is 3 doses of vaccine, so you're increasing your chances of myocarditis sort of 3 times, not threefold, but just in increments of 3 increments, you have a chance of dying from vaccine myocarditis from the third dose. And just to show, this is actually for my age range, which is between, I think, 24 to 30. So this sort of is this baseline rate of 0.051 per million or 5.1 per 100,000. This just goes to show that after your first dose of vaccine myocarditis, yes, you do have, again, that rate. So in both cases, having vaccinations increases your rate of myocarditis. Now, what we're talking about is relative rates. So at least with my age population, and this is relative to the Pfizer doses, the background chance of dying from myocarditis over a period of 2 months, again, in any other normal year, is this rate. Right? So these are appended onto the background chance, but the point is that this sort of added risk is sort of negligible, where on a normal year, we're not really concerned with myocarditis. We don't think about it, right? So this excess risk that we're applying on in the grand scheme of things is sort of negligible. And as I said in the previous slide, compared to contracting COVID, the chances of myocarditis are much higher in that case. So again, vaccine myocarditis is something to be concerned with, but relative to what our baseline risk is, it's somewhat negligible. And just as another example to show why there's all these things that are baseline rates and we just don't pay attention to them because they're negligible, is that there's a lifetime chance of drowning in the bath. These are according to Australia numbers, right? So this is something where, yes, we're concerned with all the time, but we're not thinking of it on a regular basis, right? So these small relative risks, again, should be something that we're not concerned with. It's something that as a public we're made aware of when we take the vaccine. Our public health officials make us aware that there's this added risk. But the question is, when we're personally making that decision, the relative risk isn't there. So that's just something to account for. So with that, I thank everybody for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you can, and I'll see everybody in the next video.